Welcome to DJ Talks, brought to you by Disc Jockey News TV. I'm Bill Marsh. We're going to be talking about legally building your music library on a budget. Where do you get your music? If you've been a DJ for less than 10 years, then chances are your entire library is digital. Hopefully you get your new music from one of these pools, which are excellent legal options. But where do you get your older music? This is a question I see asked in DJ groups several times a week. Unfortunately, far too many DJs are willing to use one of the many unlicensed, illegally operating music pools with unlimited downloads, or find some other even less legal ways to acquire older music. Aside from being unethical and illegal, where is the fun in that? Music is the most important tool of our trade as DJs. If you became a DJ because of your love for music, then shopping for the music should be part of the fun. Who knows, you might even bump into Rihanna. The best resources for building your library of older music, also known as back catalog music, are those shiny, colorful plastic things that were popular back in the 1990s, called compact discs, or as the cool kids called them, CDs. Yes, I said CDs are the best way to get older music. More specifically, greatest hits, compilations, and other types of sets like that can be an excellent resource to build your collection. You just rip the CDs into your computer, and like magic, they become digital files stored on your hard drive. Some of the best budget-friendly legal sources for back catalog music are secondhand stores. This could include thrift shops, vintage music stores, pawn shops, yard sales, flea markets, eBay, online classifieds, and when you're completely out of other options, even your public library can come to the rescue. As I mentioned in a previous video, Goodwill is an excellent place to shop for CDs. And yes, we're still talking about CDs. Most Goodwill stores sell CDs for about $1 to $3 a piece. Sometimes they'll sell multi-disc sets or box sets for the same price. Other times they could be $4 to $10. In some Goodwill stores, they'll have weekly half-price deals based on category. Some others do color-coded price tags with the color of the week at half price. The inventory is consistently rotating, so it helps to visit your local stores frequently and stop by stores you might pass occasionally, especially if you spot one while traveling and have the time to stop. Like Goodwill, the Salvation Army store, and faith-based nonprofit shops can be very similar. Their CDs typically sell for around $1 to $3 each, depending on your region. In my area, the inventory is not as consistent as Goodwill, but you never know when a collection of box sets or other rare finds might find their way on the shelf. It never hurts to let a manager or a friendly worker there know you're a DJ. They might call you when they have something specific you're looking for, or if they think it's something you might want. There was a time when pawn shops were considered sketchy businesses frequented by sketchy people. Then Pawn Stars became an overnight TV sensation, and suddenly pawn shops were a bit more acceptable. Yes, some are still sketchy places with sketchy people doing sketchy things, but the CDs are typically cheap and plentiful. If you have a pawn shop or even a few in your area that seem trustworthy, it can never hurt to check them out. Like the thrift shops, it might also help to do a little networking and let the manager know you're always interested in CDs and DJ gear. You would be surprised how often they could call you about something you didn't even know you need. For a true music lover, finding a new vintage music store is equal to the archaeologist finding an unknown pyramid in their backyard. The digging is definitely the fun part. Good quality and rare used CDs can be in the $5 to $15 price range, but they all have a bargain bin where you might find CDs priced as low as 25 cents to $1. You will find some CDs in these stores that you can never find anywhere else. You'll also find some CDs that you see everywhere you go. Please do not go there just for the CDs, though. Go for the experience. Go for the thrill of the hunt. For finding something like a box set of Miami freestyle 12-inch remixes or a compilation set of Studio 54 hits over the years. You may find what you're looking for, but you will probably find something you absolutely positively must buy. Remember when I said it helps to let a manager or a regular employee know that you're a DJ? I first went into the iconic Soundgarden in Baltimore in the late 90s after having all of my CDs stolen. That first visit, I bought about $100 worth of mostly bargain bin CDs, which got the manager's attention. I told her I was a DJ and buying CDs to replace what was stolen from me. She told me to send her a list of what I was having a hard time finding. In 2 weeks, she filled the list of about 150 CDs and sold them to me for $2 each. Ever since then, on a rare occasion, I may need something like an older song or even a song by a local indie artist that I cannot find anywhere else. I'll call the Soundgarden, and they either already have it, they find it, or they tell me where to go to look for it next. There was a time when the only place you could buy a Garth Brooks CD was at Walmart. Now they're the place to go for $5 dump bin CDs. Those dump bins are filled with gold and platinum CD treasures, but they're not as much fun to dig through as the vintage record stores. Still, they will prove to be worth the dive practically every time. You will find a variety of CDs including artists' greatest hits, as well as their most popular albums, movie soundtracks, best of the 70s, 80s, and 90s compilations, as well as best of different genre sets like disco, big band, Motown, even a bride's guide to wedding songs. The possibilities are endless. I once found Huey Lewis and the News Sports and a John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band box set in the same dump bin dive. As we all know, everything is now available on the internet. eBay and Facebook Marketplace have become platforms for people to buy and sell anything and everything in their pajamas. On any given day, you can find an endless list of CDs for sale, including CD collections from quote-unquote retired DJs, sometimes as bargain prices. Rumor has it there are even original CD collections from DJ pool services for sale on those sites from time to time, but I wouldn't know anything about that because we're really not supposed to sell our CDs like that. Yard sales, garage sales, and flea markets can also end up being a great resource. But as DJs, going to yard sales does not fit into our schedules very well. But perhaps you know someone who loves to go to yard sales. Maybe your neighbor has a booth at a local flea market. If you give them an idea of the types of music you need or want, they can be your personal shoppers. From a price standpoint, even if they bought a box of 50 to 100 CDs and you only find 20 CDs out of that box that you would use, they might have only paid $5 for the whole box. On January 9th, 2001, iTunes changed the world and made it possible to buy digital music from your couch. At that time, Amazon had already been selling CDs for more than 6 years. Amazon still sells CDs now, as well as digital music, but in true 2020 fashion, Apple killed iTunes and confused the world by launching Apple Music. Rumor has it, though, they still sell digital music. Your odds of finding older songs on Amazon are increased with the availability to buy CDs. They even sell used CDs, which has saved me more than once when I needed a song that was only released on a CD that is no longer available and was never sold as a digital file. Amazon also seems to have a much wider variety of best of compilation sets and CDs, sometimes also on digital file. Another question that gets asked occasionally is what labels sell CDs with the best selection of back catalog music? Most DJs will tell you to get anything you can find from Time Life Music, Now That's What I Call Music, and Billboard Hits, and I would completely agree. Rhino Records produce the Billboard hit sets, and you will find countless other compilations from Rhino, as well as other compilations from Sony Music, Universal Music, and Warner Music. And it's worth adding that oftentimes you'll find compilations from those labels on their UK or European versions, and those will have songs that you won't find anywhere else. A great trick to look for when buying music on Amazon is the CD price can sometimes be lower than the MP3 price. But often when you order the CD, they have a feature called Auto Rip to download the MP3 file for free. This is an example of the CD that's $9.99 with Auto Rip included, and just the MP3 file is $19.99. Now That's What I Call Music in the US released CD number 100 in 2018. They followed that up with a special compilation to celebrate the moment, 100 Hits from 100 Nows. This has a hit song from each of the first 100 CDs, starting with Karma Chameleon by Culture Club from CD 1, to Shotgun by George Ezra from CD 100. That's 20 years of hits on one 5 CD compilation, and it's currently selling for $16.49 on Amazon. With yacht rock's sudden popularity, Now That's What I Call Music has already come out with Yacht Rock 1 and Yacht Rock Volume 2. If you take a quick look here, you'll notice the MP3 files are cheaper this time for only $7.99 a piece. At roughly $16, you can end up with 36 songs of nothing but yacht rock. And that basically gives you an hour and a half to 2 hours of a yacht rock dinner or cocktail hour set. Another great thing about that makes them 44.4 cents per song. I came across these series called 100 Hits, released by Sony Records UK when I was doing my research for this video on Amazon. One of the things that stood out to me is that these are all, of course, songs from the UK, which means some of them may not have even been released here in the US. That's helpful, especially if you have a bride asking for something by Westlife that they absolutely positively have to have. The other nice thing is these CDs range in price from $11 to $14 each for 100 songs. If you get 10, that's 1,000 songs for about $125. As I mentioned before, when all else fails, your public library can actually be a great lifesaver. Did you know that most public libraries have massive CD collections, and you can usually borrow them for free? I have at least 100 CDs of classical music and just as many different digital albums that I've purchased over the years. But for my last wedding, I needed a specific version of Jupiter from the symphony called The Planets by Holst, performed by the London Philharmonic and David Perry as the conductor. I had over 20 versions of that specific song, but not that exact version. So I went to my local library website, found it on a box set, borrowed the box set for the wedding, and returned it. Since I did not rip the CDs from the box set, it was all perfectly legal copyright-wise, and it cost me nothing. I know this all sounds crazy in the digital age, but if you already have a physical music library of CDs and records that you've ripped into digital files, you're supposed to keep them in the original format as proof of ownership for copyright purposes. Why not show them off in your office or as a backdrop in your studio? I'm sure you can remember seeing a few other people with tons of records as a backdrop in their studio. Now, get out there and start shopping. I want to thank you all for watching. I also want to thank John Young at Disc Jockey News TV and Ben Stowe at NLFX Pro for sponsoring DJ Talks. This is Bill Marsh, and remember, it's not just music, it's the whole party.